Hello, everybody. This is Noah and John, and we are from UrbanDigs, and it is Friday. So you're going to get your weekly Manhattan market update. John, let's get right to it. I'm looking at supply. We broke the 5 handle, 5,041. Show me that chart.
Yeah, so 5,041, you are right, Noah, back over 5,000. And we said last week the bottom was in, and that continues to be the call. We'll see how this shakes out, but we're in for a wave of listings the farther we get into the new year.
Yeah, John, you really made a fantastic bottom call a few weeks ago when it was at 4,700s or so. We've been going up since then. Any sellers that were willing to listen and got out ahead of it, you're doing a good job because the market pulse is falling as those listings are coming on. So good job, Johnny. Let's go over to demand. Pending sales, 4,095. What's going on there, Johnny? Show me that chart.
Well, pending sales just drifting down. So we're back around levels we last saw in April as we sort of wind down. But again, we talked about why supply has sort of made a bottom and crossed that handle going on the way up. Pending sales is going to keep on dipping down until we get waves and waves of contracts signed, which we're probably not going to get, Noah, until we start getting into February, even most likely March.
Yeah, I totally agree with that, right? We're in the middle of the listing wave. We got a couple of ripples of listing waves. Then we got the big wave that comes in April. That's the peak listing season. And then behind that is going to be all the contract signs. So this will try to find a bottom. It's definitely falling. So, the general thing is that pending sales is going down, supply is going up. That's why the market pulse keeps going down. That had a top of 0.92 about 2.5 weeks ago. So already the leverage is starting to shift towards buy side away from sellers because it was heavily in favor of sellers and it's in the process of going to buyers. This is all in process right now, but it's not stopping. There's no signal that it's slowing down. It's actually happening. So let it play out. If I'm a seller, I kind of want to lower my price or maybe bring that forward, but that's their call. Johnny, let's go to the weekly, see if we got any information there. I'm looking at supply, 389 things. Show me that chart.
Yes, that's a bit of a drop from last week, but still 389. We're in sort of heady territory. It's not gangbuster numbers in terms of weekly supply, but this is the second highest number we've seen this month, and you have to go back to say October to find a number even higher than this. So we've had a couple of good weeks of supply, but we're still running lower than we need to be.
Yeah, you know what? Just to put that into perspective, John, I believe this weekly number hit like 550, 600 somewhere in its peak last year. I am questioning if we are going to have that kind of inventory. I am of the mindset that we are going to be in an inventory constrained market for years. I'm going to mention that in a second after we go over these weeklies. But yeah, we need to go up to 550, 600 for peak. We're going to keep an eye on that. Let's take a peek to contract sign, John, see if there's any clues there. 269 looks like it's ticking up a bit. Show me that chart.
This is up a bit. We were 256 last week, 269 this week. So it's a 5% increase or so if you want to score it by week to week measures. But
yeah,
the key point is we advanced from last week. So we had a couple solid weeks. I mean, listen, I was offered jury duty last week, so maybe it could have been more had I been here. Maybe some other folks had the same thing. But the idea is that we may be starting to see the shifting in contract signs. They've been kind of drifting down as expected, into the new year. And it looks like they may have turned the corner. I think it's really too early to call, but we're starting to see some renewed activity.
Yeah, you know what? 1 week is not a trend make, but this is different. This is a different trend. The contract signs are rising a little quicker and the supply is not going up the way we thought it would on a 1 week level. So, again, 1 week is not a trend make. When I go to the 1 month, I get a different picture here. I guess I could look at what's going on right here. I got 1622 and I got a plus 165% change. And then you could see right here that, maybe it is those contract signs are starting to go up. We'll keep an eye on that, Johnny. That's certainly going to be interesting. Let's go to the chart du jour, Johnny, and let's see what's going on there. You got Manhattan price action and you got Manhattan asking prices, both heading higher while inventory is down and starting to turn around, John. So why don't you give me a quick interpretation of what you think is going on right here?
Well, when you overlay the inventory numbers on these, the asking price per square foot and the sold price per square foot based on the contract sign date, you can really see that, you go back to, peak 2020, September, October, we had a lot of supply. As that's been coming down, we started seeing the shift and the prices are starting to go up. I mean, we've been talking about a supply constrained environment for quite a while, and now you're starting to see that in the prices.
Yeah, and I always like to look at the spreads. So it's very, very clear that sellers are feeling a little more optimistic, right? I also think that prices are somewhere in early to mid 2019 and getting better. All right, so it's going up. You see that in the data, but look at look at this median price per square foot based on the contract sign date. I think we got back to November, right? Because as contract that you sign a contract in November and you close, we got it, right? I can't really do December or January. It's just too early.
Yeah.
But look at that increase right there. And I wonder if that is now starting to show the inventory constrained environment. And look at the spread between that red line and that blue line. It's starting to get a little narrower versus narrower versus how wide it was back over here. And I look back in history and I look back to when it was narrower. And again, that puts us into 2012, 2013. We keep going back to that. We keep going back to like this. It feels like 2011, 2012, 2013, Johnny. And I just want to end one thing with supply. I want to talk about something that I think is a very interesting thing that's going on here in supply. When I look at this chart, and again, it feels to me like this. Okay. When I look at what's going on here, I feel like we are setting ourselves up for a period like this is what I'm feeling. And if I just go and draw a line here, I don't know if I'm violating any kind of technical analysis problems here, but I'm going to try to connect. Look what I'm doing, John. I'm going to try to connect the resistance levels of the last 2 years, right? With the hopes of predicting where this line might go and reach resistance before it may turn around. And when I look at where those intersect, again, this is probably going to be in April, right? It's probably going to be in April, some April, May or so is when it's going to turn. So we got a few months. It's right around the 6,000 level. See that? It's like right around that 6,000 level, right over there. And we're at 5,041. So like, and again, I don't know if I'm doing this incorrectly or I'm violating something here, but I think supply is in a downturn. And I think that when we get to this point right up here, will be like an inflection point. And if we don't see supply going the other way and we start busting out, we may have to have a different conversation. But as of everything I see right now, that's kind of where I think support is before it goes lower again as we get into summer.
I totally agree. And if there's one thing I could add on to that, I would simply say that let's put the buyers into this equation. We got the supply, but where are the buyers? Now you think about who's selling. Well, if prices are increasing and supply is decreasing, you necessarily as a seller, you can't afford to sell your house because there's nothing to move into, right? You're trapped. Yeah. So you're right. I think this dynamic sort of feeds upon itself, and that's why you're going to see a series of lower supply years. Hopefully something will change, but it looks like this dynamic is going to set up for a lower supply period for a number of years. And of course, as we saw in the previous charts, that's going to serve to push prices higher.
Yeah, and that's, I think, and our market getting back online after years of being offline, getting back online. I think that's going to be one of the impetus of powering a secular bull run. We are in the early stages of it. Nothing goes in a straight line forever, so you'll have a little down moves, but very good point there in the buyer, Johnny. Thank you so much, John, for bringing up all those wonderful charts. That is John Walkup. I am Noah Rosenblatt. We are both from UrbanDigs. Don't forget, if you guys got questions, we got answers. Just go to our forum right down here. And if you want any of the reports we talked about today, they're going to be right over here. Other than that, this has been your weekly Manhattan Market Update. We'll catch you next time.